We had a lunar eclipse here in Eretz Yisrael, Yud Daled Elul, otherwise known as a blood red moon. It was a shiny red, as could have been witnessed over here from Eretz Yisrael. It was a full moon because it was the 15th of the month. And the way that it works is because planet Earth blocks the sun from its reflection to the moon. It blocks the reflection of the sun to the moon. And suddenly, slowly but surely, you see the moon incredibly disappear. The reason for the color of the blood red is because through the atmosphere of the Earth, it diffracts all the blue color, and it leaves more or less a red brownish type of haze, which left for an incredible vision that we were able to view over here only in Eretz Israel, not in America. Now the Gemara in Sukkah on Daf Chav Tes already tells us that when we have a solar eclipse, what's known as the Chama Lokiyat Chama, that is a siman ra for the whole world, for all the briot of the world, all the people in the world, not necessarily for Eretz Israel, as opposed to when we have a lunar eclipse that is specified for Klal Yisrael. That was told for Eretz Israel, for Bnei Israel, that it is a bad time for them. And the reason is because the sun is parallel to the Goyim, as the Gemara over there in Chav Tes writes, as opposed to the moon, as we all know, is the siman for the Jews. We go by the lunar calendar, more or less, and the Goyim go by the solar calendar. In addition, Esav, who is older than Yaakov, also the sun is obviously larger than the moon. An incredible phenomenon, because the sun is thousands of times larger than the moon, but because of its distance, it is exactly enough distance that it perfectly covers up the moon, or the moon covers it up because of the distance between them. Incredulously, absolutely a miraculous event. Al Kopanim, that is the reason why the Goyim are parallel to the moon, to the sun, as opposed to by Bnei Israel, we are parallel to the sun. But there's a very more important connection, and that is because the sun always has a natural cycle. It never changes. It's always going. Shemesh is from Loshen Shoyneh. Repeating itself, always rising in the east and setting on the west. No difference, no changes. Ein chadash tachad shemesh. There's nothing new that happens when we refer to the sun. As opposed to by the moon, as we all know, it waxes and wanes and waxes. Always changing. It's always on a dynamic mode. And the reason is because Klal Yisrael have what we call hashgacha. Every action that we do affects the world. Everything that we do affects the people and the history of the whole entire world. We have a specific hashgacha where we are constantly changing the world. Our goral, our whole essence in life is always changing. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. By the Goyim, it's more or less stagnant. They do their thing, they go every day in a natural way, the world goes on, and it doesn't necessarily affect the ups and downs of the world. And that's why in Kiddush Levana, whenever we refer to Kiddush Levana, we always pray that we say Shema Tidim Litchadesh Kemota, that Bnei Israel should always become Mitchadesh, should become new, that we should always change on a dynamic basis. Incredible. One other and last point is Rosh Hashanah, which is coming soon in Echad B'Tishrei, is a din for the whole world. It's not specifically for Bnei Israel, contrary to popular belief. We say Al Medinot Bo Yamer Ezel Acher Ve'ezel Rav. It's the time of the creation of the world. Who is creating the world? Everybody's created during creation of the world. As opposed to a Nisan, which is in the middle of the month, that is specified for the Jews. On Rosh Hashanah, which is in the beginning of the month, Kesel Yom Chagenu, the moon is covered. There is no moon on Rosh Hashanah because it's not specifically for Klal Yisrael. It's something that is acknowledged to the whole entire world. Why am I mentioning this? Because the idea of the moon, which is Klal Yisrael, has to do with us, but here it is, it turned red. Who's red? Edom, Esav, that's the Goyim. Everything that has to do with Esav, who is usually the sun, suddenly when we have a likui chama, when we have an eclipse of the moon, it's a bad sign for us because our siman, meaning the moon, turns red. It turns Esavdik. And when did it happen here in Israel? It happened now before Rosh Hashanah, which is the new year for everybody. It's connected to everyone. In order to say that we are being trumped, pardon the pun, by the whole entire world. We are now there's a tremendous amount of anti-Semitism going in the world. We are being overridden by everything that everybody is ridiculing and trying to get rid of us. We thought that Eretz Yisrael would be the final frontier to prevent us, and here we are still going through these problems, and it comes for one reason. As the Gemara over there brings many reasons why a likui chama happens. Why does a lunar eclipse happen? All things are bein adam lechavero. You're stealing from him, you're lying in Beis Din, different things that the Gemara brings over there. When we here, unfortunately, if I could say, lo aleinu, in Eretz Yisrael are acting inappropriately one to each other, when there's a certain amount of standards which are inappropriate, suddenly HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts a type of likui, a type of eclipse, which we don't want to see, and then we see that the moon is turning red. It's turning Edomdik. We see that the anti-Semitism is rising. We see the goyim against us. When we work together, when we work as a team, so then we know that we are in success. I'll end with a question that the Aruch LaNer and the Ben Ish Chai asked, an obvious question. We know that this is predictable. We know that it's obvious. We know that it happens all the time. So why is it considered a bad sign? So they both answer basically the same thing. It's a sign of, just like we know Tisha B'Av is a bad time, we know Nisan is a good time. Every time has its positive times and negative times. When there's a likui chama, it's a dangerous time. It's a time of subtleties. It's a time you're walking on a thin rope. You have to be incredibly careful about what you are doing, and specifically, like we mentioned, in the bein adam lechavero. Are we treating our friends right? Are we treating Klal Yisrael right? Are we being hypocritical or stereotypical about if you are, what kind of person you are? Unfortunately, here there's a big machlokes here with the schooling system about what's going on. Are we busy with these types of things which are causing Chil Hashem? Or are we paying attention to the moon, looking, realizing that we're going to take away that redness and appreciate the newness, the waxing and waning of the moon is the beauty of the growing, which is now happening, of the moon, which will happen through our Bezrat Hashem being able to love one another.